Let's do it. Welcome to another excellent build experience. We're doing the Magicka Templar healer. We're gonna watch some clips. I will quickly go over stuff, equipment, skills, and then more details will be on the Outcast site. Here we go. Let's run through the equipment. All right, let's do it quick. We have Earth Gore. You can use other stuff. You could use Blood Spawn. You could use, Bogdan's, Chokethorn. What's really good with Earth Gore is very responsive heal. That's where its big selling point is. Someone takes burst. A lot of this patch is burst. Boom, Earth Gore procs, helps them recover. Not to mention if you happen to be taking damage, it's very strong. As a just like holding down and absorbing a lot of damage, the Earth Gore will help along with some other skills, which I'll show. I'm going to kind of show how to play this at the tail end of the video. I'm just going to review the equipment. So we have Earth Gore. Looks like I got a heavy and medium and impen. On the website I'm going to be posting, I think you just go like reinforced on big pieces. I didn't change everything. You can do what you want. But reinforced and then sturdy on the small pieces, like the gloves and the belt, the medium shoulders. This is, by the way, this is the same equipment as the Warden, and I'm probably gonna, I think I said that in the Warden video, I'm gonna try to move the same equipment along the healers. Reason being, I find one Gossamer to be one of the best like supportive sets. I love the stats on it. It's so good. If you keep major evasion on people, like this patch again is just a lot of bursts, and the odds are that part of that burst is going to be mixed in, will be some kind of AoE, like a Dawnbreaker, for example. So something like that. Anyway, Gossamer is just so good. It's really good, and the stats on it are great. Anyway, Pariah here. There's our Gossamer. We are doing Tria Chance across the board. Looks like ideally you'd want to do like heavy here, but this is what I got type thing. Ideally you want to do like some medium pieces, or I'm sorry, one medium piece and then just a couple light and then some heavies. But however you can put it together, Gossamer is a dungeon set, so anyway, same equipment again. Gossamer rings, we got Triune, one Swift Triune, and then Magicka cost reduction. All right, and then we have the Pariah staff, which is powered, weapon enchant, and then we have the defending on the back bar of the sturdy shield of Pariah. So again, here what you could do, if you're not a streamer that gets focused a lot by people, is you could just kind of Pariah back bar too, and do like a staff here, a special one, like some kind of resto staff, like a silent or something. Helps with efficiency. I try to run these builds to see if I can do it without doing that, because that is kind of how I stress test these builds. I've been trying to put any of the healers I play, I've been stress testing them. When I first switched to the Templar, I was like, this sucks compared to the Warden. That's half true. It's not as strong as the Warden. The Warden's just a bit too juiced, but this thing has had a very impressive performance as well, now that I've kind of straightened it out. One of the big changes I had to make, which isn't very big at all, is I run Witch Mothers. When I tried running whatever the other food was it Bewitched? Wasn't cutting it. I needed some more regen. And I didn't want to do that through Mundus or the enchants. We have that going, and we still kept the ritual, which is really good. We pretty much want to do this on every healer. You don't need Vampire. Alright. My abilities cost a bit more the whole time I did all this testing. I tested Vampire. It was okay. It's not bad. It's really good with Pariah. But like, it's not, I don't know. I don't need it. I really don't need it. That was my takeaway. And I don't use any Vampire skills. You can use it for its passives, but so I had level 1 Vampire on, and still making it work with no real benefit from it. Oh, potions, yeah, good question. Do we use immovable potions? No, I do not. I use tripods, and I'll discuss. Ideally, you kind of use them on cooldown, but I don't all the time. Like I'm kind of saving them for when I need punch of stats as well. And if I'm not strained on a Magicka, especially, I'm not gonna bother with it. I'll save it when I really need it. Ideally, you keep rotating all these buffs, you keep your guys whole, and you're topping off your Magicka as much as possible as a healer. You're heavy attacking. So, other thing I should mention, 24 Magicka, 40 in health. As far as the basics, did I miss anything there? CP I can do real quick. Again, I think this will probably be best referenced on the Outcast site. I'm not positive this is what I went in with, and I played this in Cyrodiil. It works fantastically. Swift Renewal, 2% per stage for healings done. So we have 10% healing done here, 10% healing done. That's for area of effects. The passes are in. Let's just look up here what we have. Reduce damage taken from single target attacks. So we had that. And then reduce your damage from AoEs by 10%. Whether it's the best or not for CP, you know, hard to say. But this is what I put in. Because I mostly do Battlegrounds. I don't do that much Cyrodiil these days. Just kind of gets laggy sometimes. Puts me in a bad mood. I don't think the green tree really matters over here. We have Juggernaut. 10% damage reduction. Max health moved up. This one's really nice. Regen across the board. And then even more regen. You go to Cyrodiil, man, you're juiced. And CP. Here's our skills. Rapid regenerations is up front here on our resto. Combat prayer, we have race against time, energy orb, repentance, and then we have the life giver ultimate. So this can change a little if you go to like Cyrodiil. If you're in a bigger group, you're probably gonna want to like swing in a barrier, for example. Restol has the same benefit before. It can heal people through walls. People that are extended from you, like if they're too far away, Battlegrounds, a lot of times people will just stray off. And you can pop the ult while sprinting at them with Race Against Time, and the ultimate will fly onto them. So it's really nice for that. Over here we got Honor the Dead. We had to switch that one. That's the obvious choice here, though. Channeled Focus. We have Living Dark. Still leveling it. It's one I threw in. Extended Ritual. It's pretty much our Purify. We have Altar. And I threw Temporal Guard on the back bar for minor protection. And this gives us our Psijic Shield as well. So our back bar sword and board feels protective. Pretty straightforward what you're doing here with this. Alright, your goal is going to be to keep up regen at all times on every healer. This skill is overtuned. So you want to keep that out at all times on people as much as possible. In between doing that, you're going to be heavy attacking a lot, like you do on all the healers. Gives you major mending and a lot of Magicka back. The buffs you want to keep rolling is really Combat Prayer. You want this on you, obviously, but you want this on the other people. Ideally, when we're going to watch some clips, if people are sticking together, this is pretty easy to do. So you're keeping them regenerated, and then you're, kind of cone healing. Even if they're topped off, you're rebuffing them with this. And then Orb, you want to keep that active pretty much all the time. Especially, again, if they're in a group. So you're like pitching out an Orb, regenning, Combat Praying. That's keeping them solid. Alright. Race Against Time to keep up when moving or if rooted. And Repentance when bodies are on the ground. That is a amazing AoE heal. Also, gives us stamina back. On this side of the fence, we have... This is our back bar, so our defensive. Now, our buffs we want to keep up is Channeled Focus. All the time. Should always be up. Big thing with Channeled Focus is if you're standing within it, you get just over 2k health a second. This is huge when you're on... When you're involved in a tough fight, you're taking a lot of damage. This should be around, like... if the fight's happening like where this tree is, you can kind of be, and you should be rotating kind of the circumference of the fight around your party. And you can pitch your channel focused over there and be healing them. If people come over to you and start hitting you, you can pull back into it a bit. The other thing that helps us is Living Dark if we're really taking pressure. So just develop yourself a light. Only lasts 6 seconds. Anytime an enemy uses direct attack against you, the sphere lashes back, reduces their move speed. But the big thing is it heals us for 2720 every half second. Okay, it's closer to 6k HP a second. This is huge. This is not up all the time. This does, however, trigger a passive in here. So we should pitch it up every now and then. I think it's, what is it, 20 seconds? It gives minor whatever. Sorcery. Every 20 seconds. So it's good to toss that up for, you know, other folks too. Especially if you got Magicka DPS. It should always, every 20 seconds, you know, should be up. Way I play my healers is they're tough, they're aggressive, they can run in front of people. If they hit you, you would prefer that. You'd prefer the enemy to hit you than your damage dealers. You should, because you're tankier than them, and you can mitigate more damage. Plus, if they want to start beating on you, you know, you plop this down and you put this up. You're receiving a lot of healing now. On top of that, this is always down. Always down. Extended Ritual. All right. This allows your allies to synergize Purify, which cleanses them. But it's also an AoE that does another little heal over time for anyone in the area. That and Alter should always be up in fights. And then again, you're tossing an orb across them and you're combat praying them while keeping regen up. Okay? That's pretty much it for skills. I can run through real quick. We'll look at some fights and I'll just kind of talk about it because it makes more sense to see these in action rather than just hear me describe these situations. I'll say, okay, here we go. Let's check it out. All right, we got 3 other guys. So we got a full team. Damn near a miracle. All right, let's look at what we're doing. I jumped in the fight. Sorry. Because I think that's the important part of this. A lot of people miss is like, how do you play whatever you're playing? What are you doing? And as silly as it may seem for more experienced people, I like to walk through it. So we're race against time and we're sprinting in. Wherever your team's going, you don't want to be afraid to engage. At least it's the mentality I play with. We're tossing up regen immediately. What did I do there? I pitched out an orb, and now I'm jumping. You'll notice I jump a lot. It's probably more of an experienced player thing. This isn't like just your average mag sork dueling jumping. It gives you great mobility while you're doing things. If you have race against time up and you leap into something, you'll see it carries you and you're technically not sprinting. Or if I get stunned or rooted, I am still going to my destination. But anyway, these are important things to point out, like what I'm doing as I'm approaching. We race against time, we're going in, we're regenning who's there. If my whole group was there, I would have combat prayed. I technically should have combat prayed, but we'll do it here. What I'm doing is I'm jumping into the fight to get these AoEs down. And this is the thing. This is probably the biggest key to trying to play this, is understanding you gotta do these things methodically. All right, we're jumping in. I'm throwing down my rune. All right, this is, as Robo called, the house. This is our protection thing. The things we stand in, we get healed for. Okay, this is good. This is where we want to be if we're in trouble. All right, this guy's leaping in. That guy's leaping. I'm trying to see what I'm tossing out. I was combat praying there. Our energy orb I originally pitched out as I was coming into the fight before this fight started is already healing them. It's important. Alright, I threw down a Purify. I have hit them with Combat Prayer. Combat Prayer is pretty much going to be your active heal. When someone's really getting focused and they're in trouble, that's when you want to switch over and hit them with your burst heal. Okay, more people are dumping damage in here. We're topping everyone off, topping regens there, another Combat Prayer. Another orb, refreshing it. Now we're heavy attacking. Alright, I wish I wasn't blocking my Magicka bar, but it's doing good. I just did 2 heavy attacks, new orbs coming out. You know, you watch the fight and you want to keep an eye on who's going to get hit. Like this one person here, the 2 on the perimeter are not going to get hit, right? So you're any kind of pre-healing you can do as a healer on who you think's about to get hit's good. Repented that body right there. It's a free heal, it costs nothing to do, and it heals everyone. It's really good. Plus it's giving you stam. As you can see, my stam is dipped right now. I have my pot up, I haven't used it. What you want to do is keep your stam that you can always CC break. Always. And because I could CC break, again, for me, my mentality is invite the people to attack you. If they want to waste their time trying to kill you right now, you will CC break, hold block, pop a pot, and heal. And apply like 3 other things that heal you over time. They're not going to kill you type thing, right? It's going to be very hard for them to do. Okay. So I put up the little bubble thing there for a minute too. Pitched out new orb. Re-purifying. Always good to purify too. You see any effects on you, purify. DK's putting dots on you, purify. Put them down if you can. So right now we popped our pot. Helps fill out our stats. What I don't like to do unless you're in an emergency is you pop a pot and you use your ultimate. If you've done both of those back to back, in about 5-6 seconds, you got nothing. And if the pressure stays on you, you're kind of screwed. What you want to try to do is over time, again, put down like rune, put down the bubble skill, these things that heal you over time, and use one or the other. The pot is only something that can really help save you outside of giving you Magicka to heal others, whereas the ultimate can pretty much save everyone. If your group's together, it doesn't really matter what you use. If your group's split up, I like to try to save the rest of them. If that makes sense. But I don't like to use both of them together. Unless you're like under pressure, duress, people are going to die unless you do it. Then you do it. That's fine. But you try to learn to play that way, that you don't just use both your things together. If I used my pot and ulted a second ago and someone starts getting hit right about now, I got nothing for them. I got nothing special but my standard healing. So right now we're topping off. We're keeping our stats good because our pot's cooling down now. There's our Earth Core proc. All right. And now I've popped Resto. Didn't really entirely need to, but just in case, you don't know what's going to follow up. Because I can. My pot's already half cooled down. My stats are good. I know I can recover from this. And we're just... What happens when you rest ult is a great opportunity for... Because again, there, I could have lived fine, and I know I could have lived fine and just sword and board blocked and healed. Another thing you use Resto Ult for is Resto Ult takes the wheel when you don't feel like healing. Keep orb up, you keep regen up, pop Resto Ult, start heavy attacking, fill up your bar, or you're actively rebuffing, okay? Which means you go through everything. Refresh altar, refresh purify, refresh your armor buff, refresh orb, do rapid regen, combat prayer again, we're back in action. It's a rotation of everything, but popping Resto Ult lets you do those first 3 things that don't heal your teammates. And it lets you do them just right back to back and get things up. Because all those little heal over times add up. So these guys are backing off the perimeter here. That one dude's going in. That's our guy to focus on. I throw a combat prayer on him, and I immediately bar swap. All right? Because actively, you should be heavy attacking with your resto. Guy goes in. He's getting focused by like 3 people. I am going to combat prayer and animation cancel with a bar swap. Immediately go to my sword and board burst heal to take care of him. And that's exactly what we did there. And they were topped off. They're fine. That's the ideal way to do it. So, yeah, just keeping buffs up from here. Repentance. Just put up the little sorcery buff. It took a Dawnbreaker. And we're popping combat prayers. There's an Earth Gore proc. Popped our Resto Ult. Saving our pot. You know, just holding on to it because we don't need it right now. Repentance there is helping top off our stamina. Fighting DKs purify a lot. Noxious, just clear that crap off. Again, I stay kind of in the fray, but part of where you want to be located is where you can combat prayer them and orb them, and they're in a lane in front of you. The other thing you want to avoid is if you're heavy attack restoing, you don't want to be stacked on your guys. If something like a leap hits you, you're going to be stunned the same time they're stunned. You want to avoid that. All right, so unless you're on like sword and board blocking, you want to try to kind of keep your distance from them. You don't want to get stunned at the same time they do. That's when they need their heals. You need to be available to heal when that's happening. So, Professor Fang, yeah. Any questions so far too? Feel free to shoot them. We'll watch a little of another match too. I think I did a little parkour thing for the stream here too to kind of demonstrate movement. Movement helps. If you have line of sight, you can live on almost anything if you play right. It's a little more advanced, but it helps, and it's helped me out of situations a lot. So see, we come in here. What's the first thing I do? I pitch an orb towards them. It's not right on top of them that's going to pass them immediately. You pitch it out in front of them so it starts healing them. They'll walk into it if they get engaged in a fight. We come up here, heavy attacking with the resto. Another regen. Combat prayer, it looks like right there. Just topping off again. There should be an altar down here. Put the orb back up. There's not an altar. All right, that's a major foul. All right, there's our Purify cast. Earth Gore's procced. So, and we pop the resto ult. So the only really thing we're sitting on is the pop, which we want to sit on. Topping people off, altars up, all the buffs are up. See right there, combat prayer, I'm immediately bar swapping for the burst heal. Alright. Some people you can't save though. Keep that in mind, alright? That guy didn't CC break, he just stood there. So, you know, not everyone can be saved. Alright, right here's a good example. I'm getting focused by everybody. The whole team just switched on to me. I'm lower health. Earthgore's procced. I'm putting up those defensive I mentioned. Living Dark is up. Channeled Focus. Alright, these are our small house things. Plus Earthgore is pretty much just like another one of them. Alright, we switched to defense and we absorb some damage. But you can absorb it for a bit. And if you have to absorb it for a long time, you're going to have to race against time and run away. It depends if your team helps you or not. It's a perfect opportunity for your team to recover, rebuff, come in, and hit targets that are completely tunnel visioned on you. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They did come back right here, which is good. They killed the guy from red team, but we're still 3v4 here, and they need to identify a target to hit. Here comes our one guy that got killed. So he dragon leaped on me, but I'm blocking. Again, being in the middle of the fight here, we want to keep our block up. So we're just trying to, you know, again, just kind of rotating those buffs. Like Purify rings out, orbs keep coming out, combat prayers, heavy attacking in between. Kind of what you're doing here as a healer is like, who are their damage dealers and who are they looking at? Because you want to make sure that guy's got combat prayer and you're ready to burst heal him. If they don't CC break, I mean, some people are just gonna die, you know, and that's okay. You're gonna. So that guy in the back's getting hit, burst healed. Right, we're watching them. You see how we rotate around the fight? I try to keep everyone in front of me, so we can keep all the hots running across. You can see how many. You can see all the heal over times up here that are happening. That's you know that's what we're providing. Looks like one of our guys just left. Well, he's coming back now. That guy's, you know, taking some focus back there, but I very well could be the focus here as well. It's just me and him now. They're dawn breaking, but I set up kind of the house stuff. Earthgore popped. Might be dead here, it looks like. Yeah, we hung around for a while. And the other two guys just left the fight. Named Alpha and Beta. They just dipped. Oh yeah. All right. That's right. I did do this. What they dipped because it's capture the flag game, so they're capturing flags. So I came over to just tank people and kind of show that it's tanky. That's good to do. Is it bad to use 2 resto stabs? There's no need to use 2 resto stabs. You don't have to. So I would kind of say, yeah. I think. I mean, I wouldn't. Unless you're running in like an Omega 50-man raid or something. Would I do that? Anyway, movement here. Line of sighting. Again, living dark. All the things. There's our combat prayer, regen. This just kind of shows it's tanky. I did want people to know it's tanky, how I would survive. In that other fight, I was committed. Like, I didn't move. I died because I didn't move. Which you can do if your group's fighting with you. If your group's not fighting and they just walk away from the fight or abandon you, yeah, you're kind of screwed. Line of sight's a very powerful tool for in ESO, for any class. It's very effective to do this, okay? And say the race. This one's on a high elf, but it kind of sucks. I would do Breton. But, you know, whatever. Again, you can change it accordingly. Argonian would be good too. Argonian's great. I don't think this Templar is so good on stamina that I don't think they need it. Argonian. It's more of a Magicka race. So trying to keep that guy alive, couldn't. You see, I'm getting focused, line of sighting over here, purifying, healing up. Not just. Here's the other thing. You don't want to just spam your mana using burst heals. I kill a lot of Templars because they just flood like 8 Honor the Deads in a row. They're not using their heal over times properly. You have regen to put up, you have Living Dark, and your Channeled Focus. Put these things down and let them heal you and do work. And then, on top of it, not only will, and then do like 1 Honor the Dead, and then heavy attack them back. And get your Magicka back, rather than just sitting there panic healing. Alright, don't be a panic healer. This is part of experience playing any class, though. You need experience, and you need to understand your resources, and this is how you do it. Is doing stuff like this. You know, I did stuff like this already on the healer. I did, you know, just try to survive impossible situations. It helps set the bar and let you know what you can do better. See, one guy just said, "Screw this." He's just standing there because they're not gonna kill me. Like, they're really not gonna be able to kill me. This team, if I'm moving and using my heal over times, they're not. Especially around the poles. Poles are tight and they're clean line of sights. Like, I go back in the open, I'm like, all right, you can hit me in the open again. But like, if you're on walls like this, frankly, this is just a limitation of the game now. When you line a sight in ESO, like, I've turned the pole and they're still chasing me around and they have to... I'm not describing this well. I'm going around the pole and then they're following me. By the time I've double backed, I'm like already beyond that. Basically, everything's a little behind now in ESO. Ever since, I think it was like the Stadia update, everything's behind. So whatever you're seeing in game now, you're seeing a little bit of the past. Like, it's not as real time as it, and it causes so many issues with targeting. This is why a lot of skills miss, like Dawnbreakers. You hit them clean on a target and nothing happens. So when you're line of sighting, it's so much more effective now than it used to be, for all the wrong reasons. But it is what it is. If you want the keys to the kingdom, this is it. So there we go. We're moving around. I'm gonna go try to get to my group because they're actually fighting. You love to see it when your team's actually fighting in a battleground. So I'm getting involved again, or trying to. Come heal this guy. The Earthgore procced, we're moving. We used our roll dodges there because we had to. Right now, again, I'm not panic healing and holding block. I'd already be dead. I'm taking advantage of mobility and heal over times. Sometimes race against time doesn't spam. I can see my head shake saying this race against time's not working when I'm pressing it. But sure enough, it eventually worked, and we got to moving around those line of sights. Again, you see these jumps that we do. All right? Try to master your jumps with high move speed, and you'll begin to understand it's pretty effective. It's pretty effective. It's good. It's very key, and I'm shaking targets by doing that. Alright? These guys are not able to jump. Alright? I don't know why, but many can't. Alright, it's hard to tell as a DPS. When you're a DPS, if your target's not jumping and staying on the same elevation, you can keep cycling your skills with a light tap of the sprint button. If you're jumping, it's a whole other story. So again, we're just kind of baiting these guys all over. If they want to chase, they can try to chase. And yeah, right there, got hit with dots, so we're gonna have to put up hots. Purify. All right. Keep in mind, a lot of these skills apply effects to you. You purify them off. Okay. Just a bit of movement. Okay. Probably selling well now. Sure is. It'll continue to do so. I think that kind of explains it, the healing portions, yeah? Does that make sense? We just did a little with dots here as well. To look at a moment of this or so. Nothing too much here because this was really easy. But again, we come in, we're placing altar, purifying, topping these guys off, chucking them an orb, combat prayer, regen, repenting that body. Right? So you can look at VODs on my Twitch too if you want to see more of this when I'm doing BGs with this healer. I played a lot of it, just learning to manage these resources. So anything you do is going to take a little practice. But what I can tell you is with the setup we have is you can achieve a very high level of healing and survival. Okay. A good non-DLC healer set to replace Gosmer. What Gosmer is really doing is providing potential mitigation. Some people run major evasion, some stam guys, a lot of Magicka can. It's great for Magicka players. It's good for you too because you don't have mitigation. We don't really have access to it unless we're a Nightblade, I guess, or something. But the point is, there's nothing that really replaces it in the same way. If it's doing its job, it's doing its job really well. It's a lot of mitigation on AoE damage. All right, animation canceling got away from me there. What are you gonna do? He died. Hate to see it. All right. Rest hold here. We're healing deep behind and deep in front. It's good. I didn't PM you. You're sending me Twitch PMs down here while I'm watching the video. Please don't. It's kind of weird. That's all. Just trying to watch the video for the people, so they know what we're doing. Plenty of examples again of this on Twitch. I and I can take questions if there's questions, but that's pretty much the rhythm of the build. Very important to come back to it is that you learn to race against time and get to the forefront of the fight. Do not get there late. All right, do not pussyfoot behind. Stay with your group. You are a tough, tanky healer. All proper healers right now should be tough and tanky. Get in that fight early so that you can chuck an orb on approach. You can leap into the fight and put down an altar. And then you can do a 180 and hit them with a combat prayer. These things are important because if you're getting your hots down early in the fight, it's going to save people's lives. If you don't get them in early, by the time the fight opens up, you can't have it. Like right there, they just ate a lot of burst, but the altar was up, Purify was up, I was combat praying, the orb was going. There was 3 different things there. One being a synergy, 2 of them are synergies that can heal them. And these options are available to them. Some of them might have lived because they hit an altar synergy there, and not just my combat prayer. These things are important, because by the time the fight happens, you can't play catch-up. You can't go and start altering when your teammates are under heavy pressure. You have to be healing them. So a big part of this is not being afraid to get in there early and get these things down. See him over there, he's standing at Purify, right? We're chucking him an orb here. We're burst healing. Rest of our guys come over, another orb. Like, keep that stuff flowing. It's important that you keep your AoEs. That's a big part of it. That's a big part of this, playing this this healer, So, any other any questions? I'll be happy to take them real quick. Man. Okay. Finally got my last leave to gauge sit this. Yeah, that should be I have to get that one. Should be good. I had a lot of fun playing this. It's a nice healer. Can you run Twiceborn for Magicka recovery in the healing Mundas instead of Gosmer? Technically, you could. You'd only really be investing for recovery. I wouldn't do that. I would do another support set. To answer that question, someone asked, what can I replace Gossamer with? Could try some other sets. There's other good support sets, whether it's Transmutation or like, you know, Weapon Damage, Spell Power Cure. There's a few other buff sets that you can slip in there instead. I would provide added value to your teammates. I live and die by that mentality as a support player. If you're just, and not to say that putting Twiceborn isn't, but basically by putting in Twiceborn, you are adding more magic recovery to be like, look, I'm a better healer because I have more Magicka. You know, if I'm a group leader, I'm going to say, well, just get good at healing, and you won't need that much Magicka. I made a build that pretty much gives you enough Magicka. Your job now is to add as much value to the actual player's stat sheet. Can you give me major evasion? Can you give me major courage? What can you give your damage dealer? Because as a damage dealer player, primarily, that's what you're looking for. But I really appreciate support. I think like, here's the thing, you can play a crappy support and get the job done. You can't so much on a DPS, unless you're Zergan. But you know, what's really undervalued is a really well-played support player. So I really appreciate when someone comes out, they play support, they're out there, you know, not just being like, yeah, I have 3 sets on that help me do my job. You know, I mean, you do what you want, but that's my opinion. That's my take on it. Yeah. Why use Sword and Board? It's the back bar defensive weapon for when you're focused. That's the main point of it. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we'll get it on the YouTube. We'll check it out. Boom, another one. We'll probably work on a Necro Healer next, and maybe the Stam Sork build and some other Stam stuff. I'm just gonna be working at builds here, steady as we go.